Welcome back, guys. We are getting a whole lot closer to finishing up this project. If you haven't checked out my other videos, be sure to go check those out first. But we're getting very close to getting this in, and I'm hoping that in the next video this should be going up into there. So fingers crossed. I've said that before a couple times, maybe not on camera, but and it hasn't happened yet. But hopefully we got a couple more things to button up here, and then we can go in there. So let's revisit our list of stuff we were getting done on here. Okay, there's the list. We just need to find a pen. Let's use a paint pen. Okay, let's have a look here. Timing belt is done. Alternator bracket, well, that's kind of done. Removal coolant hoses, that's done. Fan, that was removed a long time ago. Valve covers are painted. It's painted, but we still need to do that. Flywheel and clutch headers, well, that's kind of. Engine mount, still haven't found that yet. And we gotta do this. That's crossing off a whole lot more stuff on here. Okay, so this list is getting a little bit old, so let's start a new one. Got the list all written up on my phone, but let's transfer that over here. Oil pan needs to be replaced. Oil pan, change the flywheel, spark plugs, do the coolant pipe from the center, and we can do the intake. And we need to replace the engine mount bushing. Injectors need to be cleaned on the last header, torque. Cut the old exhaust. That's those guys right in there. Those gotta get cut shorter because those headers are a lot longer. They used to be there, now they're down here. Okay, that's all stuff that should be able to get done today, except maybe right there. So everything up here we can do today. Oh, we can't do that today because parts still hasn't gotten me that proper gasket. Then the next video we can install engine. We're going to install it like that so that we can plug in the whole wiring harness and then bolt the superchargers and pipes on top of sort of a layering process. So they all sort of got to bolt up on top of each other. Transmission's got to get mounted, bolted up to the engine. That's going to be hard to replace. And then we're going to have another big list once it's in the vehicle. So let's start with this. We got all that to do. So let's jump right in and get started. So if you're wondering why we're changing out the flywheel, this one, the old one, this is what they call a flex plate. It is for automatic transmissions. You see how it's very lightweight, very thin. So the flex plate's got these holes around the back side here. That's where your torque converter bolts onto, and the torque converter actually changes the speed with the engine and the transmission. And then the much heavier one, this is off the old engine. This is a flywheel for manuals, and it's got the surface pad around the outside, which is what the clutch goes in and off of to create a friction surface for the engine to run. So that's why we're changing it, because this was manual. The old engine came off an automatic, but really that's one of the only main differences. Normally you'd get this sent off to get remachined, resurfaced. They'd take a lathe and get it all cleaned up. But in this case he just had it done and it doesn't look too bad, so it should be good to go back together. There's one more thing that's very, very important to a auto to a manual swap or an engine that used to be auto and going to a manual, and that's a pilot bushing or pilot bearing. That is where the center shaft for the transmission sits and holds it so it can spin in there and not wobble around. It holds the center shaft, which is what your clutch rests on. Now on this old one here, this is a crankshaft. It sits right in the back of the crankshaft, and it's a little copper brass bushing that is all wrecked on this one. There's no way to pull that out and reuse it. And it's got to go right in here. Now this also has this like washer looking thing. Shut up! This also has this like washer looking thing that sticks out, whereas this doesn't have it, right? That's first lip, second lip. So we gotta see if we can pull that out, pry it out or something, and then get a bushing to go in the center there for a pilot bearing. So that's what we gotta find. That's very, very important to have that. We can't put this in without it. So one more part that's setting us behind. Okay, so we got the flywheel off. However, we're not gonna put the new one on quite yet, just because we gotta pull the oil pan off yet and it'll make it easier. And we gotta get that pilot bushing. These damn dogs just won't shut up. Hey, shut up! Let's move to the next one, which is spark plugs. We gotta get the generator running out back so we can run the shop vac, vacuum out the holes. Okay, there's the generator. It's missing the pull cord thing, so we have a string, and we're gonna try to get that thing started. So let's set you guys over here on these wheels, but we got this snow to walk through. Ah! Ah! This is for you guys, this is just for the shot. First try. Wake this old sleeping beauty up here. Accomplished. Let there be power. There we go. Now we just need to vacuum out all these spark plug holes because they're full of junk. See, I'm not picking any of it up, but get some of that junk out of there before it falls in the engine. Okay, the vacuum is not working that well to get into some of the tight spots because it's just not sealed enough. We need to find some way to make a cone for the end of the vacuum so I can get into those tight spots. Let's see what we can find around here. So I've come up with a bit of an idea here. Now I can't find my electrical tape, so this might not work, but I got a straw. I've got a little beer cup that I'm going to poke a hole in the end of, stick the straw through, and then this will fit over the nozzle and it'll make it pointy. If that doesn't work, I do have this like a turkey baster that we can pop this end off of maybe, and that might work as well. But let's see what we can rig up. I'm going to pop a hole in the end of this little mini shot glass here. Straw into the end here. I broke the cup a little bit, so this might help, it might not. Okay, so we sort of created something here. I don't know if it's gonna work. It would work a lot better with some electrical tape, but I don't have any. So let's just see if that works. This is actually working really, really good. Well, I am pretty happy with that and pretty impressed with myself actually that this worked. Let's show you a closer up. I took a little mini shot glass, poked a hole in the end, and then I just took a straw that I had sitting in my car and poked it through the center and put the vacuum tip right inside here. Makes a good seal against the end. So it draws really, really strong through the straw, and then you can poke this straw down in little tight to reach areas. And yeah, it got everything clean around the spark plugs, and now I feel very, very confident that I can pull those spark plugs and not get any shit into the engine. So yeah, tech tip when you're at home. I'm sure there's lots of tools out there that'll work, but I didn't have any, so I made one. Okay guys, now that we got all the dirt out of there, we can start. The main reason we're changing these is because they are really hard to get at with all the supercharger here. So we're just knocking out first while they're easy to access. There we got one spark plug there. This is a BKR6 EIX Platinum. The radiums are best for this application because they should last roughly 100,000 kilometers. There we go. There's spark plugs installed. So we can officially cross spark plugs off the list. Time to tackle this coolant pipe. So I just really quickly installed the water or coolant pipe here. Sits right in the valley. 2 little bolts. I put a gasket underneath. Their silicone will work. And runs right down the valley. That goes to the heater core for heat for the interior. And this I think goes up to, well, one of those millions of pipes off the back of the intake there. And then you got your thermostat housing right here. This will go to your radiator, and this one is the elbow that broke on our way out here. That goes to another piece up here. I think the looks like right there, right in the front of the intake. So let's keep plugging away here. What do we got next on our sheet? We have coolant pipe is installed. Intake. We can do the intake next. How's this for a viewing angle? You guys are mounted to the top of the garage door. So now we got to install this piece right here. This is the intake manifold. Yeah, that's got to go on just like that, but there's a coolant piece here that we appear to be missing again. So let's find that. Okay, perfect. So we found the part. Got a gasket for it, so that's good. So this got to get bolted to the front. Okay, so we got this bolted onto the front here. So you can see here we have the coolant comes into here from the radiator, coming out of the radiator, goes into this intake, and it kind of helps work as a cooler after the supercharger. Cools that intake air coming out just ever so slightly before it goes in the engine. Now just in case it ever needs to come apart again, we're going to position the clamp so it's easy to access. There we go, there's one clamp done. Now this can drop right on top of the other. So we got a couple new gaskets. there we go. That is torqued. That is solid. Let's put some tape across here. Okay, so that is one more piece we can cross off the list. Well, that will conclude today's episode for today. We got a few things done and it took a lot longer than it should have. And we're just about ready to install her into there. So, next episode, that is going in to the xterra. So, please stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, hit like if you enjoyed this video, if it was informative to you at all. And yeah, please browse my other videos from the xterra program. I also have a lot of other videos out there from car shows, Mighty Car Mods, a whole bunch of other stuff. So be sure to go check those out and stay tuned for next time when we put this engine finally back into the xterra. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited to get it in there. I'm excited to get it running, and I'm excited to get it driving. And look at that, there's still some snow out on the ground. If we get it done fast enough, we can go play in a little bit of that before it melts.